Welcome to Leaders Lead Podcast. Are you ready to conquer your challenges and achieve greatness? Join us as we dive into inspirational stories of industry leaders who have overcome adversity and reached new heights. Get ready for electrifying insights and captivating conversations that will ignite your passions for success. This is your go-to show for empowerment, growth, and leadership. Buckle up. Leaders Lead Podcast is here to take you on a transformational ride. Hey, welcome to Leaders Lead Podcast. This episode is just me and you talking. I got some things on my mind. I really want to talk to you about the concept of Leaders Lead. A lot of people, they think that the podcast Leaders Lead, it's almost implying you got to lead and do what it is that you have to do no matter what. And for some of us, it can be an implication of doing what you have to do no matter what. But the main piece of leading, especially when you're leading people, you're leading family members, you're leading friends, leading kids, leading people at work, oftentimes we forget about ourselves. So that's what we're going to be diving deeper into within the next few episodes on the show. I'm thinking the rest of the year, I got some episodes with some really cool people. If you're an entrepreneur that's trying to figure your way out, even if it's a job that you're in and you're building something brilliant, you're building something amazing, you want some stories to where you're going to be inspired, some stories that's going to put you into that place where you know that you need to go. And I realized that this kind of stuff was really helpful because I will never, ever, ever, ever forget some of the messages that I heard when I was in some of the most lonely and lowly places as a human being. It was the words that people were saying to me that were just so impactful, but it wasn't like they were saying, hey, I got this amazing message for you. It was something that I sought out. And so when we created this show, that was the thinking behind it. How can I create something that help the leaders that are overcoming some insurmountable odds, and they have to get that thing done no matter what. And I'm not talking about your everyday mundane task at work. I'm talking about survival. I'm talking about putting food on the table for the kids. I'm talking about those folks that are running and selling businesses and feeling lonely because they don't have anybody in the trenches. This show was meant to be in the trenches with those leaders, right? And I'm not talking about leadership from the standpoint of, well, look at me, I'm this incredible leader, I'm the one that's in charge of everyone, but more on or in the frame, and I'm the person that is going to take care of the people that I'm put on this earth to take care of, right? And overcoming that, no matter the situation that you're in. I mean, there's some guilt, there's some regrets that I have in my life where I'm like, I wish I would have did X, Y, Z, or I wish, I would have did that, or a situation that I could have been doing my best in, but outside forces, outside people or situations, or it is getting that time, right? So I just got to, with some troops, just kind of keep them where they're at. And that's hard as a leader. That's hard when you know that you did your best for somebody, that that you sacrifice, for an employee, family member, kid, wife, and then all of a sudden, boom. And I think that's all people. But you never want to forget that goal, that place where you're trying to go. You never want to forget, what is the big picture in this thing? The thing for you, the thing that you feel like you have been put on this earth for. So you're going to have challenges no matter what, but what really are you willing to do to overcome those challenges, right? For me, it was meditation. Meditation is something that has really helped me. Different plant medicines, stop worrying and relying on different stuff for my back and all these aches. For those of you that don't know, I was in the Marine Corps did a lot of crazy stuff with my body at a young age. So now I'm in my 40s and I'm starting to feel it, but it's all good stuff. No regrets with that because that was what saved me. What is it that you have? What journey, what challenges are you having? Are there some things that are taken away from your mental health, right? I remember when people would say, you got to make sure that you're practicing self-care, right? And that's the thing I want you to, if you're listening to this with, go get something to write with. Write this down: self-care and mental health practices. Yeah, people would say, me and my wife, we had this thing where we would laugh and we'd say, what the hell is that when you're a parent and you're doing these things? What the hell is that? Like, nobody got time for that. But now, right, we're starting to see how important and how vital that was to be able to continue the next fight. You know, everybody has respite. Everybody should be able to get rest. I mean, even the folks, some of the Marines that I served with, I remember seeing them coming home for a little bit and then going out. And then things start getting crazy where I would see folks in the Army where they were on 7 and 8 different deployments, right? Back to back, all this combat and all the stress that they're putting on their body and they're putting on their minds. But the one thing in between that, and I'm not saying this is the, you know, if you write this self-care down, I'm not saying this is like all you need in order to continue to keep fighting the good fight. But in between all of those deployments, in between all of those battles, one thing that the military does is, you know, R&R, where they go home, they get their rest, they go home, and they try their best to recover, right? The job in the military and the job in fire, police, if you're in some of those different branches that are serving the community, it's like, it's ongoing. It's ongoing. You can rest in between all of that stuff, which is very important, but is ongoing, right? And the point and the purpose of the R&R, it's supposed to be so that you could not break down when it comes to your mental health. But that's not all that's needed. There should be some other practices. So with the self-care, you got to have the mental health practices. We go and we see dentists. We see people that make sure that our eyes are in check. We see people to make sure that our bodies are in check. You know, let you break that leg. You're going to go get that leg fixed. You can't see anymore. You're going to go get some glasses, especially once you start getting in the 40 age range. You need that stuff to freaking live. I don't have my glasses, man. I'm not doing too well. I'm in a dark place. I can't see the remote. I can't see my phone. I can't see my books to do my school. I'm just in the crazy place, right? But what about our minds? What are we doing for our mental health? There's people you could do yoga. You could I got some friends that do Tai Chi. Me, myself, I meditate, hiking, going on hikes, doing, of course, doing the stuff that I absolutely can do. But let me get that out there because I know folks from the VA listen to this podcast. I'm not going crazy and willy-nilly with it. But what I am doing is making sure that I'm working that muscle of mental health. The more and more you work on it, the easier it's going to be for you to be able to use it when you're in these situations, when you're in the thrills of life, when you're combating these things that are going against you. So I want you to think about what can you do in the circumstance of when you're in that next phase of your life, when things aren't going the way that they should go. When you've worked your whole life up to this one point, and then all of a sudden the things and the people that you love and you care about turning against you or passing away, no longer in your life. Pets start dying. You know, people that you love, they're just not there, or the career that you thought that you're going to have, it's not going to happen. I've seen this over and over again. We go through these trials and tribulations in life, and, people, they're not worried about their mental health. It's not something that they even focus on. So for you, write down the different things that maybe you can do to support you. One thing that my wife does that is really cool is she'll draw. She'll go for these walks, and she'll talk to her sister, or, maybe we'll talk, or maybe she'll just walk in silence. But it all helps the mental health. That's one thing, even with my mom will admit that their generation didn't do a good job of, making sure that mental health was a priority. And I especially see this not only in my household, but in other households of people that grew up like me, people that are Black. I don't think I ever went to a counselor until I would say my divorce. I think that was the only time where I'm like, okay, what can I do? Right? What can I do to fix it? But I mean, it should be a priority. So write down the things that you just absolutely love doing. Another thing that I've done is I picked up my bike a few years ago during some trials and tribulations, and it was the absolute best. The best thing that I could ever did, because it got me going. It put me into this phase of doing the things that made me happy. Just like when I was a kid, I would get on my bike and I would ride and ride and ride. One of the coolest things that I thought it was pretty cool, but I would go from my house all the way to maybe an aunt or uncle that I was thinking about, go to their house and like hang out with my cousins or whatever. Right. I've even had some of my little cousins go on these bike rides with me. But I started riding, that kind of stopped. I picked it up. 20 years later, I picked it up. I saw a bike on the other side of the street. These folks, they were getting ready to move. And my neighbor, he's like, come check out what I got over here, man. And I went over there and I saw this bike and I'm like, oh, man, you don't have to put air in it because it's not on the flat. You don't have to no screws. It's just ready to go. And man, I went on a bike ride that freaking day. When it got me a helmet, went on a bike ride, and my God, it's been one of the things that I've been able to do that have brought me so much joy. So much joy. I can't even tell you how much joy that has brought me. Some of the things that we talked about here is the importance of maintaining resilience, right? That's something that I think you should pick up. And that's not just to get the work done. That's to take care of you while you're getting the work done. I know that you're a leader that's courageous. I know that you're a leader that's running into chaos or just maintaining peace. And it takes a lot. You're building something fantastic. It takes a lot. Trust me. I know how much this can, have an impact on you. I'm not saying our struggles are the same, but I recognize that it's a struggle. And I want you to pay attention. What can you do for self-care and what can you do for your health? Right? You take care of one, you're taking care of the other. I want to encourage you to really look at those self-care strategies, to write them down, to sit with them. If you're like, man, that's a lot of stuff to have to do and you don't know what to do right now, meditation is a really good one. If you're listening to this podcast and you are in need of some, you want to know how you start with meditation, what are some things to do? Reach out to me. I would love to freaking show you how I got started into meditation. That's something that's really simple, right? It was one of those things that I'll never forget. I was at this retreat. I was going through some grief and I'm just like, man, these days are getting pretty dark. Where can I go to get some support? Because again, working on the mental health because it's very important. And one of the tools that I picked up from this retreat was the tool of meditation. I started meditating. I've been meditating the last 3 years. Pretty much every single day of my life, I'm meditating, even if it's just for a minute. And that's just closing your eyes. That's something that you can do right now. If you're sitting and you're listening to me, just close your eyes. We'll just do this for 20 to 30 seconds. Just close your eyes and take some deep breaths, no matter where you're sitting, no matter where you're headed, or you're having some anxieties, you're feeling some depression, some hurt, some pain. You're watching some people go through some hurt and pain. You're building something big. Just take a couple of deep breaths. All the anxiety, all of the pain, whatever it is that's holding you back and keeping you down, you're blowing it out of your body. And as you blow it out of your body, you're getting the courage, you're getting the strength. The wounds are healing. You're feeling so much better every second. You're going up 10%. And out and take one last deep breath and we're done. I think that was like 30 seconds. And I mean, if you're trying, you can't tell me that didn't make you feel a little bit better. And if it didn't work, that's why it's called a practice. You continue to do it. But I picked the meditation up. I was going through some really, really, really tough times. And I was at this retreat and I was saying, I just got this, I'm trying to search for a diagnosis. I feel like the way that my body is, it's like I started falling off my bike. I would be standing up and I would fall. And it seemed like it was stressful, in different stressful situations. It was almost like the oxygen was just not in my brain. It was just the weirdest thing. My muscles would get stiff and I would get brain fog. A couple of speaking engagements. I remember the beginning, hearing my music playing, and then I remember the claps. And it's just like, where the hell have I been? Like, what's going on? It was just the weirdest thing. I would just blank out. And so, we started doing all these different tests on my spine, my head. And there were a couple of doctors that said it looks like it could be multiple sclerosis. And I'm like, oh my God, doing all this research. I started just I'm swimming in my head. Like all these people I know that have MS, I'm like, Richard Pryor, I start seeing him and I'm freaking out. My wife is just like, at this point, what can we do to help this man? Because it was killing me. Because, the doctors didn't know. It was getting some abnormal tests back. And I was at this retreat and somebody said, just meditate. You got to keep moving. And actually, I was kind of annoyed by this person, but they ended up being one of my really good friends. But it's like, you can't stop moving. It sounds like you're giving up. And that's one thing I'm going to tell you. If you stop moving, then your body is really going to seize up and you're not going to be in good shape. And I'm just like, ugh, like meditation. And then, I come back from the retreat and this person sent me a list of meditations. And I was just like, I'm not going to listen to these. Right. So then, one day I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. And, I'm just having a hard time with my health. I don't even remember exactly what it was. I think it might've been a migraine. And I popped in the meditation and I listened to it and it brought me down. It really freaking helped me. And I'm just like, oh my God, it took away the migraine. I mean, I was going through it was if anybody out there got migraines, it could be a really bad situation. So that's why I started meditation. And that's why I swear by it. But so if you're interested in getting some meditations, I have a few of them that I think will really help you in your situation. I don't know your situation, but I do know that if you're listening to the show, you're a leader. You need somebody in the trenches with you while you're fighting the good fight and giving you a plan. That's why I'm here. I'm not above you. I'm not below you. I'm beside you. I really think that meditation will help. If it's not meditation, try something else. Think about your own resilience plan, self-care strategies, and taking care of mental health, different practices. Start doing it. If you are needing some support, always feel free to reach out to me. I can plug you with a resource that'll help you. If you're like me, you're trying to use your voice for the good to combat some of the hate that's out there in the world, or you got a story, you got a situation, and you need some support with that, turning that situation into an occupation and turning that occupation into a freaking lifelong dream and serving out for your purpose, then reach out to me. I got some really cool stuff teaching people how to do what I've done. And you listen to this podcast and you think that it could help somebody else. You think that there's somebody out there that really needs to hear this. They're going through some hard times, but they got a lot of stuff riding on them succeeding. Then it would be freaking amazing if you would send this to them. I just tell them they can listen to it whenever they want. Hopefully you and them have picked up some strategies. If you got some strategies that you want me to talk about, you want to explore, send me a message. I'd love to freaking learn what it is that you have some questions with. I do make a practice of reaching out to leaders that are doing extraordinary in their field of healing people. That's what these next series are really going to focus on. The healers, the people that are supporting the folks and not only focusing on them and their life, what they went through, but giving you the same framework. So there'd be a lot of different things about this mental health, this self-love, and keeping us resilient so that we can continue to fight. No matter what fight that we're in, we got to keep fighting. So that's where the next few episodes are going to go down. It's going to be a series. Leaders lead even when it hurts. All right. I'll see you next episode on Leaders Lead the Podcast. You're going to really love the guest that we're bringing on the show. The next one is going to be Michael Pritchard. He's a good friend, a good mentor, and he mentored me for many, many years. He's one of those people that I leaned on when I was going through some hard times, and I had just become a motivational speaker. I thought I had all these things figured out, but hit a really rough patch in life. I went through some great sadness, and I had already raised my hand to be a speaker, and I quit my job, and this is what I was doing. I was struggling. I had this thing where I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe the things that I knew to be true, because if that was the case and those things were true, then why did I feel so blue? But little did I know I was evolving. And this guest that we have on the show coming up soon, I think it should be next episode, Michael Pritchard. He's the person that put me on that direction. He is the person that I would say is the epitome of a leader that's leading, even if and while it hurts. So be on the lookout for that. And I think we're good here. I'll see you next episode. Thank you for allowing me to travel with you on your journey. I want to say thank you for the things that you're doing, the things that you've done, and the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something truly amazing. Remember, I'm here to stand by you as you chase your dreams, lead with greatness, and continue to make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. I'll see you next time on Leaders Lead the Podcast. Peace.